All right then, more Summerses. That is turning into a very solid flavour of the month for the teams in this stage of the tournament. We're seeing a Holland rather than a Småland on Muuh, as well as Des Moines Minotaur making its first appearance. Pair of Venezias, those 15-8-inch guns are very attractive. Ohioan Thunderer for Muuh, Thunderer and Yamato for BTT-W, another Yoshino. So that will be interesting. But the 18-inch gun definitely seems to be running things on the tournament scene at the moment. Let's see how BTT play this deployment out. They've got 2 destroyers and 3 cap points to grab. So, Granosik gets himself underway. He's not got far to go if he does settle in to the blocking position here. And given his course, I think that's where he's heading. Schlizniak getting up to speed in the Venezia, screening Matsuyu as they both head out to the southwest, and they've got Muad'Dib in the Thunderer backing them up. Confusingly, we also have Muad'Dib PL in the Yamato. I think I'm going to have to be very careful here to distinguish between Wabdib and Muad'Dib. Caster problems, ladies and gentlemen, caster problems. Meanwhile, Younglus, Magister, and Essek moving out towards Point C, fairly standard shakeout there. And we're seeing something almost the same from the Muuh side, except that they are refusing Point B. So Joitman might be able to get himself a quick and easy early cap, and thus a quick and easy early score advantage for his team. But the flip side to that is that the forces they've got deploying into C from the north are about to run into something just a tiny bit heavier. Minotaur, Des Moines, Venezia, Ohio, Summers. Well, Summers on Summers is a mirror match. It might well come down to the Minotaur. The Yoshino, as we've seen several times today, is great at kiting and burning, but once you force it to stand and fight, the armor layout of that ship does it no favors. Torp launch, wow. Torp launch from the Venezia. Was that accidental? I mean, So Ironhide dropped there. He's 19k out. Let's check the range to Point B. Joitman almost finishing off his cap. 13k, 14k. Speculative suppression, and it was a risky launch profile, but a little bit puzzled, to be honest, although maybe it would discourage a destroyer from pushing straight forwards. Point B flips over, Joitman getting that quick early cap. Interestingly, Granosik has parked up on the western side of the island for a radar block rather than the northern side, and the Summers of Zhonghua is just having a little look at the approaching to Point C, but of course with the sheer number of enemy cruisers over there, although it should be noted at the moment that they can barely see each other, all they can see and was the Ohio, and they didn't even get that. So we'll see. Meanwhile, Cord Veteran trying to shove in, but he's in the torp track, stands on the rudder. Nice gentle torpedo beat there, and Cordite Veteran dives into Point C to lock it. Now that will tell Younglus that there is another destroyer in the point. Do they know which it is? It's either the Holland or the Summers. We know it's the Summers. Not so sure that BTT know, but they'll find out soon enough, probably if they're counting torpedoes. Lyron, meanwhile, on the approach into Point A. Schlizniak got there first, however, and has started his cap, with Matsuyu in the Stalingrad turning out and running across a torpedo track, although he should clear it in plenty of time to get his guns into play against Geitschbrot. And interestingly, Geitscher is actually turned away at this junction. Normally you see a heavy ship on that position go bow in an effort to provide a block, but he may just be buying time to find out. But Schlizniak makes a bad turn there, ends up in front of the torpedoes. That's going to be 2, 1 on the belt, 1 on the bow. Immediate partial reset on Point A, and Schlizniak takes some early hits and is forced to blow his damage control to contain the flooding. Surprising that as well. Normally what you see on this control point is a cruiser digging in here. I felt sure Slizniak was going to do that, but he's actually sailed fully out of point A and is being forced back by gunfire from the Thunderer and probably Gleischerbrot as well. It's Joitman who's now making the cap. And Leon rolls in with torpedoes, just dropping the high-speed Swedish meatballs in an effort to sweep that section of the control point clear. Joitman, either suspecting or just working on general principles, pulls it clear, finishes the cap of point A and proceeds to dive back into cover. So let's roll back over to point C, where it's turned into a deadlock. Torpedo launch from Cordite Veteran, and if BTT-W hadn't worked it out already, they now know that it's got to be the Summers acting as a destroyer over here, because let's face it, there aren't many other ships that can drop 3 quad launches of torpedoes. Junglus dives in, slightly disguising his launch pattern there, holding it in reserve. Not that it denies any intelligence to Muuh, of course, because, well, 2 Summers. Yeah. They kind of know what destroyers BTT are fielding anyway, and there's the 3rd launch from Cordite, who is now sat in his smokescreen making cap. Now, here's the question. Does Cordite suspect torpedoes here? Hasn't got a hydro set on the Summers, but simple paranoia will be telling him that if you are in a smokescreen, you attract torpedoes. Rocking backwards and forwards, but he's actually rocking backwards into the track. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Impact! Impact! Cordite gets hammered down to 4,000 health, blows his damage control to contain the flooding, partial reset on point C, and now Junglus might be feeling a bit happier about the fact that he's down to less than 9,000 health, because, well, Cordite's barely got a boat left. Muddib, meanwhile, is setting up for heavy gunfire support. Cordite finishes the cap of point C. The Holland of Lyron tiptoes into B while it's again abandoned by both teams. And point A is locked. So point C is currently the only one scoring. And right now it is Muuh that are pushing slightly ahead. It can still flip either way though. BTT are ahead on health. Neither side has scored a kill yet. And, well, 17 minutes on the timer when there's only 12 minutes 50 in the match. Yeah, that could flip pretty hard. However, Gleischerbrot has come off his blocking position and has gotten into A. This is not going how I expected it to play on this map. I say, normally you see a meat grinder here, but BTT are in what looks like full retreat here, and Muuh taking advantage to push up and grab some advanced blocking and firing positions. Kelly stands on the brakes and the port side rudder, dodges the torpedoes from Joitman, and as a consequence doesn't take any significant hits there, but he does have what looks to be a permanent fire. However, Muuh barely scrapes 1 torpedo. I think he took a 2nd there, so he has taken a fairly significant pounding. Ken 1, 2, 3 desperately trying to glue his boat back together. Lyron goes, and there we go. Ohio has been eliminated. I repeat, Ohio has been eliminated. Caught and pinned down. We missed most of that gunfight. However, I'm not sure how much of it was the Yamato, how much of it was the Stalingrad, and how much was the Yoshino. But, well, Ohio delenda est. So, Muuh have managed to get themselves all 3 control points, but they've paid a high price in the process, losing their battleship on the east side. But nevertheless, they are still 4 minutes 50 out from a win, thanks to controlling all 3 points. Joitman dives back towards point A. He's looking for a way to get in safely, doesn't find it, and has to wriggle around the corner for a second. Ken is on critically low health. It's less than 9,000, and if Muad'Dib can get a decent shot there, it will be somewhat less than 0. However, Ken drops back, pops his repairs. It is now over 9,000. Comfortably over, in fact, which is fine because a radar sweep just caught him. Torpedoes running out towards Kaliu and Ken. Is Ken moving forwards? Yes, Ken is trying to creep forwards back into his blocking position, but there is another wave of torpedoes coming from Joitman, and Ken is wandering right into their path. Oh dear. So, torpedo detonation there. That will have warned Ken. He's back in full reverse, but physics is a harsh mistress. He takes one on the bow, gets knocked to 7,000, and he is flooding. Can he control that? 6,002. Flooding lights are still going. 4,003. And he controls the dam con. So, flood contained, but that repair party is completely undone. However, Kalyu is in even worse states, arguably trying to back off, get his bow onto target. And unfortunately, the process shows his side to Granashik, opening up the crossfire there as he backs away. 2 points to Muuh. BTT taking point C and starting to push hard with the Yamato. Wad pushing in, firing secondaries at Cordite. Kalyu goes down, but can Cordite get a repair going? It's currently hosing it. The Yoshino puts down Samashino and takes its radar out of the equation. We have multiple torpedoes closing on Wadib's bow. Cordite taking secondary fire. Cordite goes down to a main battery salvo from the Yamato. Wadib finds a gap, almost finds a gap, but takes it on the belt, so it takes minimal damage there and does not flood. So Yamato is staging a glorious charge through point C. He's got the Stalingrad of Majda backing him up, and it's actually Majda that's taking most of the fire here. Venezia tries armor piercing at high angle, most of it donks. The Minotaur, of course, has got no choice but to fire that fast-fused 6-inch AP, but when you've got a Yamato running you down, it's going to be rough no matter how you angle in a Minotaur. Yamato cares not about your armor angles. In fact, Doc, given the sheer velocity of the Yamato's shells, might actually be safer trying to go broadside. But he decides better of it and breaks away after dumping his starboard torpedoes in an effort to dissuade Wad. War 18.1 inch comes down, and yep, Overpen City, the Minotaur gets to live briefly, very briefly, as the Stalingrad comes in and hammers him down, caring far less about Overpens. So all that's left on the eastern flank for Muuh now is one Venezia. Ironhide's popped his maneuver smoke, but the consequence of that is that he has lost his spotting and is now in serious trouble. Over on the west side, Sen almost gone, but well, if he's going down, he's taking someone with him. Trade of Stalingrad's there. Wabdib grabs Sen, and Sen takes out one of BTT's boats. 1 minute 12 to a BTT win. Daisha unfortunately got forced right back off the control point, and the block has failed here as well. So BTT managing to crush both flanks with nearly simultaneous charges. We do have a deadlock. It's just not where I thought it was, and it's not going to stay deadlocked for very long either. Lyron comes barreling around the corner, dumps his torpedoes as best he can. And honestly, at that many torpedoes at that close range, might even do the trick. Might, but it doesn't. And the Venezia and the Stalingrad put down the Holland with point-blank gunfire. So, comprehensive win for Muuh in the end. It looked shaky in the middle when BTT had all three control points, but really, Muuh for the Herde. I'm not sure if that's for the Herde or for the Horde. Unfortunately, Muuh just, well, the dominoes just fell once they started taking casualties.